And joining us right now, the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, my dear friend, the man himself, the Eagles Hall of Famer, Mr. Trey Thomas. What's going on there, Trey?
Oh man, all is well. I just dropped my son off at college, man, and it was just leading up to it. I was just wandering around. I was sitting around watching Maverick, Top Gun at the house. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to get into the danger zone. I'm on my highway into the danger zone, and I'm sitting up there wondering why I have this like clear discharge leaking from my eyes, and I'm like, babe, I think I need to call an ophthalmologist because there's something going on in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like there's this fluid that just keeps running, and I don't know what it is. And she's like, well, we dropped Tristan off, my son, at college, and maybe that's it, that your son is about to be off on his own, and you just think back at all the years that you've been raising him, and I'm like, man, did I do a good enough job? Because are there lessons in the book that I forgot? Because he came up different from me, So I need them to understand, like, there are certain things that you need to be aware of, that you probably didn't have to deal with in the out here in the mean streets of Medford. You know what I'm saying? So. You got to kind of, I hope he's good, But one of the things, when you're dropping your child off and you go into a co-ed dorm, and all the girls are like all on the same floor. And I'm just like, I think back to my college days, I'm like, man, I wish it was like that for us. But as a parent, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And you see all these dads walking away from their daughters just crying like, oh my God. Just real emotional. And we're on the elevator and we're crying together because I'm like, man, you crying, I'm crying too, man. Because I'm like, oh God.
Well, when did this become a popular thing? Because I'm hearing more and more about this. The dorms in college now are like all co-ed. Like who thought of that as a good idea? Why was that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what movement this was voted in on. You know what I'm saying? Like it probably was in the fine print of a ballot that we didn't get down to, we didn't read all the way down, so yeah, that's it now. That is it. Yeah. And my son is in school, man. It's been cool. It's been cool. Like we went and visited him this weekend, so it was good, man, Like we just dropped him off Wednesday, and it's like Sunday. We're like, all right, that's it. We're coming to see you, Because it's been 4 days. We're coming to check you out. I need to lay eyes on you just to make sure that you're good,
You're dropping by with the How-To Father book. Wait, no, I forgot lesson number 4. Lesson number 4. Always be a gentleman. Sorry, I want to make sure.
We're going to review a couple things just to make sure that you're good.
I show up with a PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
It's so damn good to see it. And I do want to set the scene for people. Trey, as everyone knows, you are a very creative man, and you wanted to do this interview, I assume, on your deck. You show up, and you got your whole woods behind you, like you were off painting Bob Ross paintings, like I know you too. It was a beautiful setting, and we just couldn't get the connection working.
Yeah, we couldn't get it to work because I was in plein air, which is French for outside. I was outside in plein air, which is French for outside. I was outside just hanging out. Yeah, something outside happened with the connection, whatever. So, all right, we switched it up. Let's come back inside.
And here we are. And let's talk a little bit about that sport where you got the footballs behind you there. You have a vast expertise when it comes to the sport of football, of course, that and painting, and a great handle on the French language that I don't even know about. I have to ask you this because I've been dying to ask you this question. It's all under the caveat of the preseason and all that stuff. Cam Jergens has people excited, and probably 2 guys that are going to be in the trenches that are rookies have everyone in Philadelphia excited when it comes to Jordan Davis and it comes to Cam Jergens. First, your reaction to Cam Jergens, the rookie center out of Wisconsin.
I thought he was really good, man. I really enjoyed watching him play. I think the way the offense is set up, it fits really well for him. He fits right into that, where you have him doing all the zone blocks, the pulling, getting out in space, blocking downfield. I thought he did a really good job, and I went down there for the alumni game for the first game and for the first preseason game, and was able to get out there and stand next to him. I'm like, okay, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, he reminds you of Kelce, but he has a little bit more size than Kelce. He seems like he's a little bit bigger. And just when you go back and you watch him play, I was very impressed by him. I thought he did a really good job.
Now, is it safe to say that, because I know that people will jump on the comparison to him and Jason Kelce, and you just mentioned it there. Is it okay to say, though, yes, not Jason Kelce, not a guy that will likely be a Hall of Fame center one day in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but is it okay to say the same type of style as Jason Kelce?
Oh, absolutely. He definitely has the same type of style, where you can get him out, you can get him to pull. But like I said, I think he has a little bit more size to him. So I really look forward to how he plays, to see him in some more live action, but to see how he continues to develop. But I thought he was very impressive, just to watch him get out there and do his work. Kelce, he's going to be a hard person to replace just because of what he means to this city. But I think that the way you watch this kid play, this young man, he's not a kid, this young man step in, you can see that he can handle this, and with it being his first start, he didn't flinch. It didn't seem like there was a drop at all in his play.
Okay. And then the other side of this, the other rookie, the first round pick there, Jordan Davis, great first preseason game. Mm-hmm. Didn't really see a lot of him in the Browns game, preseason game number 2, and then preseason game number 3, he was in there for 7 plays, at least 5 of which he was double teamed on. What did you make of Jordan Davis so far in the preseason?
I think that's what you're going to bring him in here for. You bring him in to be double teamed, just because he's a big body guy. You want him to take up the double teams. He's going to be that guy with your Fletcher or some of the other D linemen that's down there. So that's what you brought him in here to do, to take up the double team. Then when you mess around, because this defense runs so many 5-man fronts, you're going to get some one-on-one blocks and pass rush situations. So I think that's going to open up, and I think that Jordan, he's another one, an extremely athletic, massive young man. That, when you look at him and just how smooth he ran that 4.7, 6'6", 340 pounds, man. That's ridiculous to see that type of body running. And I'm just imagining if he's giving chase and you see something like that chasing you, like, what do? You know what? Timeout. I need a weapon in both hands to take care of that. Because, that is a massive man. The way you saw this man run at the combine, if he would have been 200 pounds, I think he would have had the fastest 40 at the combine. Just how athletic he looked running. It was impressive. But I think that he's going to be a force down there on that defensive front.
Mm-hmm. I certainly hope so. And he definitely seems like a guy who wakes up and chooses violence when it comes to the defensive side of the football. How is this possible, Trey? How does Brandon Brooks retire? It's another year of Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson comes back. How does all of a sudden, with a lot of young guys on this team, Isaac Seumalo coming off an injury, how does it happen where people are already looking at this offensive line and saying they're still going to be one of the best in football? Some of their backups could be starters. Their backup offensive line as a whole could be starting on somebody else's team. How does that happen? How does that transition happen?
Well, because, Brandon Brooks retires, but still you got one of the best centers in the league. You got Lane Johnson that comes in, one of the top tackles in the league. Jordan Mailata is one of the young, up-and-coming, probably one of the better tackles at left. Once he's getting better as he plays. And then now, once you saw that Isaac can handle the transition from moving from left to right and stepping in at right guard, I thought that, you have a really good offensive line. Then when you get Dickerson back in there, now you're really looking at something. And then you have Coach Stoutland, man. Like, Coach Stoutland right now, as the offensive line coach, can do no wrong right now. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's like, oh, my God, he is the offensive line guru whisperer. So, you can bring anybody in there and he will make them better. So I think that plays a lot into it as well. And I think that, just because of how the season has gone, where you have a lot of injuries and guys can plug and play. And I think Opeta, even when you watch Opeta step in there and play, I thought he did extremely well, when he stepped in. So, yeah, they have a really good offensive line.
What's going to go on there with Isaac Seumalo switching sides on the offensive line there? Because that can be obviously difficult for a lot of people. All of a sudden, things that you're reacting to that you're normally seeing on your right are now on your left and vice versa. What's the adjustment like for him going from left to right?
Well, you know what? One of the things that I think helps Isaac is that he was a center. So that helps him a lot, because you're used to switching your stance from time to time. And I think that he had enough time to do that. When you have the entire offseason, you have, all of training camp to work through the muscle memory aspect of it to when you're switching sides, that really plays big when you have time. So I think that he's going to step in. It's not going to be a problem for him.
Good enough. Now the $64,000 question. Hell with that. The $1 million question, possibly the $40 million question, is the quarterback. You know how it goes. We all talk about the quarterback all the time. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, what are your expectations for him this upcoming season?
I think Jalen is going to be really good. This offense just plays into Jalen Hurts. I mean, everything is based off if we can get the run game going. You get this offensive line moving people downfield. They're doing a lot of the zone reads where you have to have a very disciplined backside linebacker because everything is reading that backside linebacker. If he's going to pull it, if you get that backside linebacker to shift any to the side that you're running, and then you pull it and throw it, or he can get out and run. When you go back to that Jets game, the only time that made me a little nervous is when you saw him against the Jets games, when the secondary came out there and they pressed the receivers and they were like, all right, you know what? We're going to go out here and press these receivers, and they couldn't get open. And he kind of got like, all right, you know what? I got to get out of the pocket. You need to get out of bounds, or you need to get down a little bit quicker. Or you're going to have defensive players that's out there like, you know what? I'm going to take the fine because I'm going to try to take your head off. And that's just the reality of the game. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. So you, as a quarterback, need to protect yourself, get down, or get out of bounds a little earlier.
This is the first time we've talked since your dear friend, our dear friend, Hugh Douglas, has it's been announced he's going to go into the Eagles Hall of Fame. What was your reaction when you saw old Bullet Wound get into the Eagles Hall of Fame?
Senior Bullet Wound was inducted into the Eagles Hall of Fame, so I made sure I text him and like, Senior, welcome, good. Congratulations, Senior Bullet Wound.
When did he become senior? Has he always been senior?
I throw it in there every now and then. I think it just makes it sound a little bit more, adds a little touch of sophistication to the name.
Yes, of course.
So I reached out to Senior Bullet Wound, and it's just like, hey, man, congratulations on getting inducted. And, he was extremely happy about it. I text Trent Cole, and Trent just said thanks. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, congratulations. Trent probably was somewhere in a perch hunting. I don't know.
I was just gonna say he probably has the arrow drawn, and he was just about to get himself a 10-point buck. And there's his boy Trey Thomas texting him. Congratulations. Thanks, Buck. I need my venison.
I'm hunting right now. I don't want to hear that. You can drop Trent off in the woods with a knife and some fishing wire, and he's gonna have at it, man. If you get lost in the woods, you want to be with Trent Cole because you'll be okay.
I concur.
You'll be all right. Yes.
I concur. Ahead of the season, Trey. Ahead of the season, we talked about your expectations for the quarterback. What are your expectations for this Philadelphia Eagles 2022 season?
Oh man, I think I can never sit up here and say, okay, hey, we're going to lose. I think this team is good, man. When you look at the depth that they had of the receiver, all of the talent that they have out there on the edges, and then as long as you can keep this offensive line healthy, man, I see this team making a very good run. I can never say, oh, we're going to be 12 and whatever, man. We going 17-0 until somebody beat us. We going undefeated. We're going to take out the 72 Dolphins record, just because I think that this team is very talented. I think you have a really talented offensive unit. I think that when you look at on the other side of the ball with the defense, extremely talented. Of course, you have some questions at safety, but I think that this is a really good group. I would like to see a little bit more action when it comes to the pass rush, being able to get after the quarterback. But I think all in all, man, this is an extremely talented team. Now the only thing that gives me a little concern is just that, you only have 7 plays that the starters played in the preseason. To me, that I know that you say, okay, hey, man, you don't want to get anybody hurt. I understand that, the injury aspect of it. But preseason is kind of the one thing that was good about preseason was getting your conditioning up to get ready to play these games. Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah, this practice was a high tempo practice, but it's nothing like going full tilt, and you never put yourself in those situations in practice. So I hope that this recipe works out, but it's kind of hard to flip that switch. To say, all right, you know what, we're going full tilt now. You haven't done it yet. You only had 7 plays. You only had 7 plays in this preseason that you were able to flip that switch and really cut loose. And now you're gonna have to wait a full month since because they only played the first game, and then you took those last 2 weeks off, and then now you have 2 more weeks until the first game on 9/11. So I mean, here you go. I hope that switch works, man. Mm-hmm. I hope this is the right recipe, and I hope these guys come out ready, primed, and fired up and ready to go. But that's my only concern with it.
Along those lines, the last thing I was going to ask you, a perfect segue into it. We all know about Andy Reid's 2-a-days at Lehigh. Like we've heard those stories. We've heard you talk about that so eloquently about the times in Lehigh, about not so eloquent times, but speak about it in an elegant fashion. It doesn't hit my ear right, so I can only imagine how it hits your ear when you hear a coach say, "We got great practice in this week. We didn't need to play in the game." It feels like we used to say preseason is glorified practice, but now it seems like the preseason, or it sounds like the practice is the glorified preseason. Yeah. What is it like when you hear practices being elevated to such importance? How does that hit your ear?
Yeah, not right. Because I know what the practice is. I mean, everything is scripted. You never get a full rush from somebody unless it's one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go to team, the quarterback has on the red jersey, so that defensive player is going to pull up on you. He's going to relax. So you never put yourself in those situations that you're going to end up in the game, and that's the reality of it. And I know, hey, we're wearing these monitors and it shows that, hey, we thudded. We had a good thud, and it has all these readings that's showing that, hey, man, I think that this was just like a game. No, it wasn't. A game, it's tough, man. And, the conditioning of it, especially as an offensive lineman, you don't rotate out. We can't raise our hand and tap our helmet and say, hey, man, come, I need a sub. That doesn't happen as an offensive line. You can't do that if you're in a 12, 14 play drive. You sucking gas. You're just out there trying to make it. And I think that that's one of the things that the preseason does for you is to help you with that conditioning that happens. You go out there and have a 12, 14 play drive, and then the defense comes out there and get a 3 and out, and then now you got to get back out there on the field. You can't simulate that in practice. That doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Everybody has their 10, 11, 12 play drives. Then we switch. Then the defense has their plays, and then it keeps rotating. So you never really get the momentum of a game. And I hope that this works. I'm right here. I'm praying everything out that this was the right recipe. And, you come out of this, and when you look around the league and you always turn on, you see all these different injuries that are happening in preseason. And you say, oh, hey, well, the Eagles came out unscathed. All right, cool. But you didn't put yourself in any strenuous situations, so I hope it works out.
Yeah, I mean, Kelce, I'm with you.
Kelce hurt his elbow swimming. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what happens when you get older. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, I reached down there for this paper clip and I threw my back in traction. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happens. It's just, No,
it's happening. They don't know. It's happening to me, my friend. It's happening to me.
Yeah.
Trey, always great catching up with you. I'm going to let you go back to your setting in the forest, back to your art, your easel and your paint brushes, and you could just paint the scene.
Yeah, in plein air.
In plein air. In
plein air, which is French for outside.
Trey, I love you, brother. Thanks so much, man. Great catching up with you.
All right, my brother. Take care, man.
All right, the great Trey Thomas joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line.